The output page for the modular LED fixture in AI allows you to quickly and easily set up complex mappings of attached fixtures from the media server. On the left, we see the sample area, much like the other output pages, and on the right, we've got our output. Unlike the other pages, this one is outputting ArtNet or DMX as data values and not a video signal. So instead, we see our universe grid at the top and our channel grid for the selected universe. Let's have a look at the tools we've got available on the page. So on the left, we've got the selection tool. This allows us to choose which piece we're currently working on. The second down is our region tool. This lets us draw the areas that we wish to sample. We then have our translation tool. This lets us take the selected piece and move it around. We have a free rotation tool, a scaling tool, an invert selection tool, and a decimate tool. The decimate tool takes a selected region or sample area and splits it into its component parts so that we can work with each sampling point separately. So let's get some pieces in there and see how this works. So I'm going to choose the region tool. I'm going to draw a bar across these coloured sections like so, and I'm actually going to change it to 1 point per colour here. In fact, I just want to sample the middle 6, the yellow to the blue. So let's change this to 6 sampling points. So with the region selected, and we can tell it's selected because it's flashing, I go down to the number entry box at the bottom, and on my horizontal I'm going to change that to 6. Now we can see it's a little bit wide for the area that I want there as well, so I'm just going to change the width of that sampling area, and then I'm just going to push it over to the right a little bit. There we go. So now we can see we've got a point in each of those coloured areas. So let's think about our output channels for this region. So first of all, we can see that we've got our channels here and our universes here. Now it starts on a default channel, default universe of universe 68 and a default channel of 32. I'm going to leave it on this universe, but let's change channel to 100. So there are a few ways that we can do this. With the region selected, I can just click on my starting channel, so 100, and it's going to place the channels from that point. Also with the region selected, I can adjust the value in the starting channel box here. Let's go for 50, like so. Or I can even roll my mouse over there to find the channel that I want. So I'm going to go back to 100. Now we'll notice at the moment that we're actually just getting 6 channels of data there for the 6 control points that we've got. And this is down to the colour profile that we're using. So at the moment we're in a mono mode. That's 1 channel per sampling point. So I think we should change this to something a bit more commonly used. Let's change it to RGB. So again, with that region selected, in the box on the bottom left, we can see a colour mode drop down here, and it gives us a few options: mono, RGB, RGBA, CMY, RGBW, and mono 16-bit, which can be really useful for kinetic fixtures. I'm going to choose RGB, and what we'll notice as soon as I choose this, it's going to update the amount of channels that are being in use, like so. Now, the way that we visualize the channels has a few different options here. So what we should do, first of all, let's just take the numbers off this grid to make it a little bit easier to understand. That's this 4th one up from the bottom here. The one below that, the one that's showing the bars, this chooses how our channels are visualized. And the mode that we're on at the moment, a low bar is a low value and a high bar is a high value. Now if I put my points onto this gradient here, it'll be a little easier to see. There we go. So you can see those values increasing as we go along. The second mode uses the colour of the square. So the darker the square, the lower the value, the brighter the square, the higher the value. The third mode shows us the accumulative colour for those 3 channels. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this piece back up there onto the colours, and we can see what's going on. Those 3 channels are making yellow, those 3 channels are making teal, and so on. Below that we have a fixture visibility button and a universe visibility button. So the default behaviour for this fixture is that we can only see the currently selected universe on the currently selected fixture. Clicking the second from bottom button will show every single fixture within the project, every LED fixture within the project at the same time. And this means we can make sure that none of our regions are overlapping and sampling the same piece. And the very bottom one allows us to see all of the universes at the same time. Again, for the same reason, just to make sure you've got no conflicts in your placement of components. Up on the right, again, we have the layout controllers. So you can save your different layouts, load your layouts, and even load up the dynamic changer so that you can change between those rapidly during your show. It's also possible to import a pre-made layout for a fixture type, and depending whether we use the CSV or the fixture import button changes how it works. So we've provided some templates, and if we use the CSV import, it's going to default to the channels and universes specified in that template, whereas if I use the fixture input, it will default to the currently selected universe. So let's just get one of those in there very quickly. So in the installation folder we've got a DMX fixtures box, and if we go into there, I'm going to get in the K20. There we go. So if I select all of that, I can then move that to where I want, and I can even start to scale that as necessary, like so. And so we can see all of these points giving this real-time feedback of what's happening with our fixture there. If you do have a fixture which has a strange colour profile, maybe it has a different order of colour cells, it is possible to reorder the colour cells with these drop downs here on the left. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4 is the standard order. So that's to say 1 is R, 2 is G, 3 is B, and 4 is W or A, depending on your 4-channel mode. If, for instance, I want to go GRB instead of RGB, with the region selected, I can change that to 2 and 1. So there you go. It's really nice and easy to use this page. Very much like working with the screen fixture. Use your region tool, place the regions, adjust your channel offsets, and play your media.